If you, who is watching us, know King Kaka as Kakasungura or as rabbit, please take your vitamins. This cold weather, put on a sweater. Like, you're too old to be out here walking around single. Okay? Please, we are asking you, when will you get married? When will you have children? Okay? So King Kaka, for the better part of 2021, unfortunately spent it in hospital. And given the, the images that we saw, he was clearly on the brink of death. And all of this is just because of a misdiagnosis, and he was being treated for something he was not ill. And by the time they found out what was really happening, they haven't really told us the whole story, but by the time they found out what was really ailing him, it had really gotten to a point where he looked like he was dying. And we saw the pictures on social media, and we would see the stories of, how, like, the doctor would have to meet Nana and King Kaka, like, in traffic because they couldn't make it to hospital and everything. And it was very heartbreaking. And if you even had a relative who's going through such a thing, like a relative or a parent or a mother, just somebody who's going through an illness, and you never know if they're going to make it, it can be very traumatizing. On the partner who now has to also take care of the other children and, make sure everything is all right, make sure the kids are okay, while also being strong for yourself, to your, your parents who think they might lose you, to everyone. It's really a hard ordeal. And now King Kaka is actually releasing an album, just for Thanksgiving, and just to say thank you, and just to show his gratitude for his journey so far. And Nana will be headlining, or will be making a cameo in one of the songs, and she says the whole ordeal was so heartbreaking because she had to relive the whole thing, because she went on set and he was also dressed in the same, like, those pictures. There's a picture of King Kaka going around where he was on a hospital bed and he just looked gone. Yani, it's very troubling and very traumatizing to see. And she says when they had to go do the shoot again, she had to relieve the whole trauma. And she also said it's not just her who was affected, even her children, and her child, her daughter, had to also go for guidance and counseling because of the same ordeal. Because dealing with the fact that you might lose a loved one is very intense. So to you, the audience, have you been in such a situation where you thought, well, this is touch and go, I might actually lose my partner, I might actually lose my sibling? And how was that experience for you? How did you overcome it? How, what happened? That's all I'm asking.
Now, losing a loved one is a very tough thing. And I think the worst part is, like, when you are solely responsible for them, or you are in such close proximities with each other in terms of your relationship, it becomes so troubling, because then you become the person that they rely on, the shoulder that they're supposed to cry on, the shoulder that is supposed to house all of that. Like, you're supposed to be a shock absorber for them. So when they're going through the difficulties, when they're going through the painful medications that are being injected on them, with like 7 different drips being put into their body, and that is such a gruesome image, you still have to be strong enough for them to give them that hope in order for them to feel the need to, I don't know, there's something about you seeing someone like hoping and praying and looking jovial about your situation, regardless of how bad it is, that gives you hope and wants you make you push a little bit further. And I've watched a really sad story on one of these one of these conversations that people normally have, one of these talks that people normally have about their lives and all of that. And there was this particular lady by the name of Marianne who lost her husband due to COVID. She also had COVID. And it was just one of those conversations where she got sick. Something was really wrong. She had already been diagnosed with COVID. They both had. And then she just started feeling funny, went to hospital, and she was told, girl, you need to be admitted. So it's like today she finds out she has COVID, and then she starts feeling bad, and then she goes to hospital and leaves her husband at home, obviously recovering from COVID. And when she is at hospital, something happens, and she has to have an emergency C-section. And during that whole process, she's trying to call her husband, trying to find out what's going on, because you're supposed to come and pick her up from hospital, but she can't catch him on the phone. And obviously she's concerned. She starts to call everyone frantically, her friends, her family. No one is picking up or responding to her calls. Eventually her dad calls her, and she's told, let me come see you. Now the parents are coming to see her in one. Remember how isolated those places used to be? People have to be in these like hazmat suits, and they look like aliens or astronauts, and she's also in a cocoon space. And now they're telling her, oh my God, we're so sorry to tell you, but your husband died yesterday. I think in the time that you left. By the time you left, he passed on. And you can imagine all of that stuff is happening. Even now she's on drips. She's also going through a really trouble. It's a lot. Let's just say dealing with all of that pain of losing a partner, parent, a friend, a loved one, it is not easy. So you can imagine Nana and the fact that they've been together for how long? So long, yeah, many years, with what, two children together, and they are such a power couple within the industry, and they've celebrated so many wins, and now this is a loss, and they have to go through it, and it's just hard. It really puts you in perspective of how strong your relationship is with someone, because some people just leave. They just leave you. They're like, oh, by the way, it's been real, but like, I gotta go. It's that you realize so many things about your partner when you're in that situation. And then reliving that is like, you think, oh my God, yeah, he was sick and we're fine. But reliving that trauma, oh, Lord have mercy, it's a lot. So Nana, we're so proud of you for holding the fort, for your husband, for your baby daddy, and for the love of your life. And yeah, we're so happy that King Kaka is around again, and we can still listen to his amazing music, like until God decides it's time for either one of us.